Once again, assume the position and look for spontaneous signals, because I'm going to be talking to you about how you and me can end the AIDS epidemic. Maybe. And by now you know it can be done. And so I'm going to be talking about what we can do, and keep alert for those spontaneous signals. And when you get them, follow the questions they imply. Ask those questions and see if you get answers. See what signals you get when you ask the questions that occur to you as in response. So you need to be responding to your signals. So ask the questions that occur to you in response to your signals, and interact with your signals like that. Interpret. That's how you interpret your signals. You respond to them. And if you found this through an HIV search in YouTube, you have no idea what I'm talking about. It's this website, and you would click on HIV is one place where you'll find the other segments of this movie. Okay, another thing, don't watch this until you've learned to kill HIV yourself, which you do not have to have HIV to learn how to do. That's the nice thing about this. You don't have to have the disease to learn how to cure it. It helps. It helps to practice on something you've got, but definitely if you don't have it, this is going to make a lot more sense to you if you learn how to kill the virus first. Okay? So do that, and then, and I'm assuming now that you have, that you did that, and now you're back here, or you just did it, see, because probably where you are is you're in the middle of training yourself to follow the thread to no longer hosting HIV, if you ever did, and or just not hosting anything, that's the demand of the cure drive. Host nothing. That's really all you need to do. And because then you'll be functional, and we can manifest somebody coming along who can end the epidemic of HIV, because that's essentially how we're going to end the epidemic. It's going to be a person who has the power to do something about it. Who that person is or where they come from, beats me. None of us have been that person so far, which is why we still have an epidemic. So here we are, the lot of us sitting around with the cure. We're fine now. We don't get herpes outbreaks, we don't get flus, we don't. Nobody around me has been sick for years. And so here we are sitting with the cure, and the epidemic rages on because none of us have been the person who has the power to end the epidemic. What would that person look like? Well, I'm sure tons of visualizations are popping into your head about, what the person would look like. And I'm going to be giving you something that maybe is not popping into your head here. Because, the kinds of things that are popping into your head are probably things like, the Prime Minister of England or something, somebody who has the power to end the epidemic. Who would that be? President Bush, whoever, whatever, And while those visions are important, I mean, you're not wrong about this, okay? It's just that there's more. See, because President Bush may not be the person, even if you're a friend of his and you tell him, and you take a, walk around, in the rose garden, and you wander around in there for a while, and you're talking, and you show him how to kill the virus and so on, and he's good at it. You may find that he picks it up like that, but he just may not be the person. So we're going to have to look at, we're going to have to look at this a little more closely. That's why I made this movie. So you at least know what you're doing. I'll tell you what. When you're manifesting something, which is what we're going to have to do, see, is we're going to simply have to manifest this person appearing to us. You know, they're going to walk in and end the epidemic. They're just going to suddenly, okay, I'm ending the epidemic, boom, and they do it. And it's very important to be able to visualize it properly, to see it, to be able to see it. And so this is what we're going to do. And in the process, we're also going to look at, well, let me give you an example, okay, of other things we're going to look at. We stop parties, you know, sometimes. It's something that we've done, and it's a great experiment, for one thing. I've learned a lot from hearing people doing that. I was once actually on the phone with somebody when she stopped a party and taught everybody at the party how to cure things. And you learn an awful lot from listening to something like that, you know. And see, it always goes the same way. And also in classes, I've, you know, actually been on the phone when people were doing classes too, more than once, you know. It's one of the things I do. And I learned a lot from that. And well, okay. I think I'll give you a whole example for that. Like, just, you know, try guessing. You know, try to visualize it for yourself, because I've seen it, so I know what it looks like, and you haven't probably, so you don't. So try to visualize what it would look like. Would everybody at the party suddenly start doing it? Would a lot of people be skeptical and asking a lot of questions and challenging it? And like, how would it go? You know, what would it be like to, you know, stop a party and do this? You know, just get your own idea about it in your mind, okay? This is going to help. See, you're actually being trained to stop the epidemic, because I'm training you to manifest the person coming in who does that. The thing is, you've got to be functional enough to be a real manifester. So if you're just getting started, a lot of the things I'm going to tell you now are going to come in handy later. As a matter of fact, that's why I said you should start killing the virus before you even watch this movie. But this is the kind of movie that you need to probably watch it more than once. You know, there's a lot in it. There's a lot to it. Okay, so I was watching, one night I was watching Ashley Judd speaking to an AIDS benefit. And she introduced Bono, I believe, who came up there, and they were both on the podium together. And they looked exhausted. You could see that they put this thing together, you know, and they were fighting like they're trying to, you know, there's a Holocaust in Africa coming if we don't get them the drugs, you know, and they were raising money to get the drugs to the Africans. And golly, you know, I was just looking at them, and see, they're in a war that they can't win. They don't have the weapon, you know. They don't have the cure for HIV. You do. I do. They don't. Because the person who can give it to them hasn't come along, and see, maybe they may actually be the people who find the person who stops the epidemic. Like, they may not actually be the people who stop the epidemic. Like, if they got, you know, the cure and were teaching people and so on, it still might not be them. But it could very easily be one of the people who they teach. So anyway, so I was watching them, and now it's time. You know, I just didn't understand, like, why they had to suffer so much. You know, one thing is, like, they're so good and they're so deserving. Why do they have to suffer so much? I have no idea. You know, I guess the time of their penance isn't over yet, but perhaps soon it will be.